you should be very much aware about the promotion, the growth,
Mm-hmm.
their appraisal parts, and everything which is in your favor,
Mm-hmm.
maybe which can reward you, because this is the thing which a person works for.
Yeah.
Uh, Everybody works for the company.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole different thing, but eventually you are working for yourself.
Welcome back to Life 101. In our previous podcast, we have discussed about corporate world, things you should know while preparing for a job hunt, or things you should know while preparing for an interview. Today, with Lalit Jhala, who has rich expertise in human resource department, we'll be learning about employee benefits, employee rights, and questions that you should ask before accepting a job offer to your employer. Stay tuned to know more. Hi, thank you so much, Lalit, for accepting my invite and being a part of today's podcast.
Hi Neha, good morning. Thank you for being bringing me here.
Thank you so much. So instead of me giving a fancy introduction of you, why don't you introduce yourself, Lalit?
Uh, Thank you, Neha. My name is Lalit. Well, I've been associated with human resources from last 3.5 years now. It's been a very good journey as of now. I have worked with some good brands like Oberoi, and now I've been working with Villa Hotels. Uh, Before this hospitality, I did my graduation in BTech, then
Mm-hmm.
did my MBA in human resources.
Mm-hmm.
I had worked with IT industries as well for a
Mm-hmm.
very short span of time, and then I moved to human resources. Well,
Mm-hmm.
moving to human resources, I found that it's a very nice field to work with,
Mm-hmm.
because you get to know people, you have a lot of interaction with people
Mm-hmm.
around the globe. So it's
Yeah.
a nice platform,
Hmm.
and see where I land. I'm just into the race. That's all.
And also it comes with a lot of responsibility because you are responsible for building the human resource policy and keeping the people happy in the organization, which is a really important task for any good company.
Yeah, exactly. As you said, it's a very huge responsibility because when you onboard, especially in terms of freshers, if you talk about,
Mm-hmm.
so they are the people who are not aware of any things in regards to their work life and
Yeah.
everything. They must have done their internships, but they have not worked anywhere.
Yeah.
So onboarding them, making them comfortable, because they have a lot of challenges in terms of
Hmm.
their family, friends. They are out of their home for the first time.
Yeah.
So this is how it is, because they will be in the race of making themselves under the competition,
Yeah.
and leaving their family. They have to suddenly manage a lot.
Yeah.
So if we'll not be helping them out, they'll be into struggle,
Yeah.
and eventually they leave. So
Yeah.
stopping them from leaving and helping out them is a responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah, even in my last podcast, me and my friend, we were speaking about the corporate life, and how sometimes people have a wrong perception that in corporate people don't take care of each other, or it's just a race. It's not like that, right? People in human resource, they usually make sure that the employees are comfortable, everything is being taken care of. They take care of their personal as well as their professional growth. That's why it's really important to get into a good company. That's what our topic is all about. Things that you should consider before taking up a job offer. So Lalit, where would you want to start with this? Would you want to focus on the industry and the type of work that they should be working on, or how do you want to go about?
Neha, see, I'll not limit this to any industries.
Yeah.
However, I've not worked with corporate sectors much,
Mm-hmm.
but yes, I have quite a few idea
Mm-hmm.
how they also work. So let's
Yeah.
not limit it to industry, because
All right.
if I'll only limit it to hospitality, it will be
Mm.
less for the other
Yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
that's what I was thinking.
basically, what in general a person should do once he's going for an interview, or maybe he's applying for the company,
Mm-hmm.
I'll just give you a gist of it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if you have something else, you can add up from
Yeah,
yourself too.
yeah, sure.
So, uh, if firstly the person should be aware what, in terms of uh, from his schooling itself, he
Mm-hmm.
should be very clear what he wants to do in his life,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe where he wants to see his life after 5 years, or be it a corporate sector, be it a hospitality,
Mm-hmm.
or any other sector.
Yeah.
Every sector, see, every sector has a scope, of growth. There is no such thing in the areas like this sector will give you a boost or this sector will not give
Yeah.
you a jump.
Yeah.
It's all depends on your hard work and
Mm.
how dedicatedly you do your work.
Yeah.
That's how it is. So they should be aware which sector they want to land into.
Mm.
That should be the first thing they should be very clear about. The
Mm-hmm.
rest, everything can be managed. But
Mm-hmm.
if you are not clear with your goals, you'll land up to some different zone
Yeah.
altogether.
Yeah.
Secondly, let's say if somebody has done his graduation and now he is looking for a job,
Mm.
he should seek for opportunities that are related to his industry.
Mm.
Let's say if he has been a commerce graduate, he should look for some companies who are taking graduates from commerce, and eventually he'll be in a place where he'll be comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say if a person from commerce gets a job in a IT or a BPO sector,
Mm-hmm.
he can join there, but after 6 months or maybe a year, he'll start feeling that he's into wrong place. So
Yeah.
that is something you should be very clear
Mm.
about. Uh, then let's say if he has applied for the company,
Mm-hmm.
he should be very clear what the company is all about.
Mm.
Uh, uh, People usually don't do this, but I would advise they should go to their websites, Google it,
Mm.
because you have a lot of time before joining the company.
Yeah.
Once you have joined the company, there's no such scope of going back. Either
Yeah.
you'll get do comfortably the job, you'll be comfortable with that job, or you'll eventually leave with that job.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are aware what the company is all about and you know the statics, and you are aware where you will be after 5 years if you stick to the company, you will be very clear about your
Yeah.
goals.
Mm.
And so this will help you a lot. And trust me, those people always stay motivated and they keep doing well because they have a pretty much idea where they will be after uh, a certain years of time.
Yeah.
So this is what I think they should do before giving an interview or maybe applying for a job. Not
Yeah.
just Googling and finding a job, because since you are a jobless person and you have just graduated, you should not end up getting into some job which is not relevant to you.
Yeah.
Because you may give yourself 3 4 months, maybe 6 months, maybe a year, but I would advise people should choose the field that they are interested into.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
And
what I feel.
yeah, and this happens also because kids are confused. Sometimes when we are young, we don't know what we want
Exactly.
to do when we grow up, and we end up taking the wrong course also. So, this also is another topic to discuss. But like you rightly said, in order to save ourselves from, because there are so many job scam right these days. In order to save ourselves from those companies, we have to do a good company history search so that we know that if that company is genuine or not. And sometimes people do search for a job through a third party. Now I personally do not suggest that. Maybe for some people it works, but for me I feel like the company usually, looks for a candidate directly also. So I feel like people should look at that prospect more than getting into a third party.
Yes, Neha, you are very right. But the only thing that I feel is that no
Mm.
company is wrong as of
Yeah.
every company has some certain things which they are focused into.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they land up being into a bad situation, but that's not what they started for.
Mm.
So that is something we should not focus on. But yeah, I feel that uh, as you said, they should not go through some consultancy or these things. That should
Mm-hmm.
be your last thing to do
Yeah.
if you're not getting any certain links. But you should try your connections.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe LinkedIn is a very good platform these
Yeah.
days, so you should
Yeah.
be connected with more and more people around.
Mm.
So even if you are applying for a job, if you have any connection in that place,
Mm-hmm.
whom you don't know personally, but
Mm-hmm.
you are connected on LinkedIn, you can just message them. Maybe
Yeah.
you get a reply and you'll get a good knowledge what the company is all about,
Mm-hmm.
what's the work culture, and this is this. Because
Mm-hmm.
most people shy when they are applying, that
Yeah.
why should I talk to this guy? Maybe he don't know me. What answer should I
Yeah.
get? But what
Mm.
if we get a positive reward?
Yeah.
That can help you out. So
Yeah.
I think in this professional world now, everybody is having that mindset that they are there to help, because after, especially after this COVID, people are getting themselves into a positive mindset now. So
Mm.
everybody is trying to help others. So
Yeah.
even I think that you should try for this connection links, or maybe if you have any friends or family members, I think you should
Yeah.
reach out to them.
Yeah. That's what I'll be doing in my next podcast. We will be discussing on how we should be looking for a job, how we can connect to different people. Now, having said that, Lalit, if I am a fresher, for example, and I'm looking for a job, now what are the things that I should know before I even go further and negotiate? What are the things that I should be knowing about, and what are my employee rights?
Okay, so see, we'll talk about the employer rights, I guess, a little later because
Yeah.
it's a
Okay.
whole different sector
Hmm.
and it's a very big segment you should be talking about.
Hmm.
So right now, I'll just tell you if you are a fresher, as you said, and you're applying for a job, what all should
Hmm.
you know?
Hmm.
So as I told you, you should be knowing what the company you are going into,
Hmm.
what the industry deals with,
Hmm.
what are their byproducts, or what are their sister companies, or what is their main business
Hmm.
they are doing. What will be your job responsibility there? Because
Hmm.
let's say if there's a hospitality sector, for example, even I am from a hospitality sector, but I don't work too much for guest oriented things.
Yeah.
I work for staff oriented things. So you should be clear. It's not something that if you're going on a cruise line, you will be only working for the
Services. Yeah.
services and these things. Maybe you are a operator or something like that.
Hmm.
So you should be clear what is your job responsibility. That is the first thing you should go through.
Hmm.
You should always read the JD, or if there is no JD, because these days usually we people don't post JDs.
Yeah.
We only roll out the job vacancies that we do have.
Yeah.
So you should reach out to that HR
Hmm.
and seek a clarity what's the job responsibility, or maybe during the interview you can have that clarity.
Yeah.
But always ask the job responsibility, because after joining you cannot have
Yeah.
uh, that aspect of asking them what I was not told this, and why am I supposed to do this, because this is this industry
Yeah.
and why am I not doing that.
Yeah.
So there can be any job responsibility in any sector,
Hmm.
but you should ask these job descriptions before applying.
Yeah.
So that is what something would suggest.
Hmm.
Secondly, you can, as I told you, you can Google the company's links. Most of the bigger brands have very decent there's social medias and everything.
Hmm.
So you can go through that. You can check what are they up to, what are the trending things, what are
Yeah.
they bringing in new, or what is under the pipeline. So these things are always there on their website. If not on
Hmm.
website, if it is a smaller segment, maybe you can check on LinkedIn, or there are thousands of platforms where you will get information about the company. So I
Yeah.
think you should check 1,000 times before landing into a company, because eventually once you land up to a wrong place, what people start doing is they'll start putting a blame on the company. However, it's
Yeah.
not company's fault. It was you who was into a rush to join somewhere.
Yeah. Hmm.
So that should not be the case. Everybody has a goal set, and everybody has a place where they can fit into.
Yeah.
It's just what you can find better for you.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and like you rightly said, wrong place doesn't mean a wrong company. It means that you do
Exactly.
not fit to the job description. And like you
Exactly.
rightly said, job descriptions are very important to be known, no matter what job it is that you're looking for. But then you
Hmm.
should know the job description, because at the end, if you do not know what role you are hired for, then it might be a situation wherein you are given all the work that you are not even supposed to do. That also happens. And also, to
Exactly.
add value to yourself, you should know what is the job responsibility, so that you can work accordingly and prioritize your things accordingly. Also, Lalit, do you think that while applying we should also know the company's hierarchy, so that we know we can set goals for ourselves? Now I'm hired as an associate, now next step would be this, and what's the promotion process and all that.
Yes, Neha rightly said. You should be very much aware about the promotion, the growth,
Hmm.
their appraisal parts, and everything which is in your favor,
Mm-hmm.
maybe which can reward you, because this is the thing which a person works for.
Yeah.
Uh, Everybody works for the company.
Hmm.
That's a whole different thing, but eventually you are working for yourself.
Yes.
So if you are being appraised at the right time, if the company gives employees that relief to work, and there is a personal and professional life balance,
Hmm.
so everybody will wish to work with that place, and people will stick to that place.
Yeah.
So you should always check all these things during the interview only, because
Hmm.
anyways ways you'll have a first round with the HR,
Yeah.
or maybe if you're going through a consultancy, I'll tell you,
Mm-hmm.
they also have this idea what this company is all about and
Yeah.
these things. So rather than checking up with the consultancy, when you are moved to the next round with the HR or
Mm-hmm.
any company's person, you should ask the question there, because
Mm.
a consultant just to have his sake of money can give you any
Yeah.
directions.
Mm.
But when you speak to the person who is responsible in the company, you'll get a better idea, and you should always seek for these questions.
Yeah. And sometimes we are scared, when we are freshers, we're scared to ask question, but it's all right. You should ask as many questions as possible so that you don't end up in a wrong place, and they also are not a comfortable situation wherein you're leaving after 3 months, and you also are going through that hardship and you have to leave after 3 months. So ask question. You don't have to be scared, right?
Exactly, because even when I do interviews with freshers, I have seen people that they shy a lot.
Yeah.
Even when I ask them, or maybe the other person asks them that, "Do you have any questions?" They end up saying, "No, sir, not as of now." But after 6 months, when they join, they have a lot of questions.
Hmm.
Or maybe once they get the offer letter, they have a lot of questions. So
Hmm.
these questions they should have asked before having that interview completed,
Yeah.
because that was the time which was right. Now when you have an offer letter, you have and now you are into that zone of having multiple doubts,
Yeah.
so you had wasted that person's time and yours as well.
Hmm.
So it was a waste of the energy from both ends.
Hmm.
So that should not be the case. You should always ask these questions. It's not about right, but this is something which will take you to a good position.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Eventually.
why not to ask a question? You are going for a job.
Yeah.
You're not just going to have fun there. You are
Mm-hmm.
going as a professional, so you should always have good questions. Yes, but the questions should be limited. They
Yeah.
should be very professional.
Yeah.
But it's always good to have questions
Yeah.
before you join.
Hmm. And also, like you said, employee rights is a very broad spectrum. So why don't we limit it to employee benefits, or the policies that you want to speak about that people should know about?
Okay, so as I said, before joining, you should go to company's website, or especially their social medias and LinkedIn websites,
Hmm.
or maybe wherever they have set their company standards.
Mm-hmm.
There you'll get an idea about what they are into, what their mission is, what their vision is, what the company as a whole is about,
Hmm.
and maybe you'll also get an idea what their policies and standards are.
Hmm.
So, which is a very big thing, because the policies that a company has for their employees uh, will be the thing which will drive you through
Hmm.
during the journey with the company.
Hmm.
So you should always be aware about the policies. See, you cannot ask too much of policies in the interview,
Yeah.
because it will be a very long interview then, and
Hmm.
the even the person has a limited time.
Hmm.
But for policies and these things, I should think you should refer to the company's website.
Yeah.
It is the best thing to go. There
Hmm.
is always a about us in these sections in the company website,
Yeah.
so you can just click through the company's website. Whenever you go to a company's website, if you scroll down in the end, you'll find about the company, or maybe founders page, or uh, mission, vision, what's under
Hmm.
pipeline. So
Hmm.
you should always have that thing
Hmm.
checked
Yeah.
on your end.
Yeah. And also, how do people check if they have employee benefits or not in that company?
See, in regards to employee benefits, if you're talking about their uh, medical rights and these things,
PF,
PF,
gratuity. Yeah.
ESIC, gratuities. So once you get the offer letters, most of the company have that bifurcation these days,
Hmm.
wherein they mention what is the PF deduction, what is the ESIC deduction, what is the gratuity they are
Hmm.
cutting off,
Hmm.
which will be paid after the eligibility criteria.
Hmm.
And but some companies don't mention their medical and other benefits like
Yeah.
insurance things and these things, personal
Hmm.
accident coverages and other things. So you can ask once you get the offer letter, because that's the right time when you should ask the question.
Yeah.
Because once you have that offer letter with you, even that person can explain you better, and you having that sheet in your hand, you can understand it better.
Yeah.
So that is something which is the a person should be aware about, because what deduction he'll be having. Because what majorly I've seen is, once you get the offer letter, there is a gross component, and then after some deductions you'll get an in hand.
Hmm.
which has happened with most of the freshers in uh, which I have seen a lot.
Hmm. Hmm.
So during their acceptance of offer, they don't go through all these
Yeah.
deductions, wherein the company have mentioned it very clear.
Hmm.
And once they get the salary credited, they come and say that it's what this, and we got a lesser amount.
Yeah.
However, there was few deductions which were written very clearly. So
Yeah.
when you get the top letter, you should always ask what are these deductions about, and what other deductions will be there if they are not mentioned in there.
Yeah.
So you should always seek for these questions. You should always ask for these questions before joining.
Yeah.
And if the company has given you offer letter, they'll obviously not hide anything from you.
Yeah.
Uh, so putting that mark on the company that they have not told us this before.
Hmm.
They had given you all the options, but you were the one who did not ask the
Yeah,
question.
sometimes we don't know how to read them. Like for example,
Exactly.
like when you're a fresher, you are confused. You see such a huge amount in your gross
Exactly.
salary.
So
Yeah, and when the
so
salary
that's
comes, it's
that's
yeah,
the problem between CTC in hand. This is
yeah,
what freshers
yeah. Would you
get
want to
into.
explain little bit on gross CTC and in-hand salary?
See, since every company has a different salary components, but
Yeah,
I'll just give you a gist of it,
yeah, yeah. Just in the
because
layman's term. Yeah.
it's almost the same everywhere.
Hmm.
So there are few components which will be written, that total will be written as a gross component.
Hmm.
Okay, so that gross doesn't comes to your account
Hmm.
eventually at the month's end. Uh, After gross, there will be few deductions like PF, ESIC. If you are under 21,000, you will be under ESIC policy. If you are serving the company for 5 years, you'll get a gratuity. But gratuity starts getting deducted from the day one you have joined
Hmm.
the company.
Hmm.
So these are the things you should check on the offer letter. And the gross salary after deduction will be your in hand. So gross never comes to your account.
Hmm.
Also, the CTC. The CTC is something which the company pays you as a whole. It is
Hmm.
the full form is cost to company.
Hmm.
So in CTC, the company will add up their PF as well, what they are submitting to the PF office in your
Hmm.
regards,
Hmm.
their medical insurance thing and everything. So
Hmm.
that is what a CTC is, including your performance appraisal, everything.
Yeah.
So some companies add performance appraisal and these amounts, some do not.
Hmm.
That can be varying, but yeah, PF and these things are definitely added to CTC.
Yeah.
So, but that is not something you'll get in the month's end. So
Hmm.
you should be very clear on that,
Yeah.
especially for freshers, because CTC is something which has all the PF and everything included.
Yeah.
Once you exclude the PF and other things from the company's end, you'll get a gross, and after deduction from gross, you'll get an in hand.
Yeah.
So that is how it is. So that is why there is a big difference from CTC to in hand.
Yeah. And people shouldn't get a wrong perception when they see all these deductions are for you. The
Exactly.
PF, you have certain percentage of your contribution, and if it's a good company, the employer also contributes, which is like you're saving for the later years. So when you are leaving the company, you can carry forward that amount and go to the other company. And also all these benefits are for you. Some people, they think that HR has deducted our money and kept, but it's not like that. It's for your own
Exactly.
benefit. Some people don't understand this, but this is for your future, for your security, and nobody can dismiss your money anywhere without you knowing, because you have all the access to your account.
Yeah, see, as you said, this PF and ESIC, they are a government policy
Yeah.
that the company obeys. So basically, that amount is never with the HR of the company or
Yeah.
never with the
Hmm.
employer end. It always goes to a PF account which is being managed by the government officials.
Yeah.
Okay, so that amount from your end which was deducted and the employer which has been paid gets deducted to your PF account
Yeah.
by the next month.
Hmm.
So let's say if your salary got credited for this month, your account in the PF would be showing that plus in the next month,
Yeah.
because it's done after the submission of challan, which is a
Hmm.
next different thing.
Hmm.
Uh, so that is something which no employer can take away from you. If
Yeah.
your PF has been deducted, that is yours only.
Yeah.
If you have all your correct documents like Aadhaar card, bank accounts, and everything,
Hmm.
you can get them credited whenever you wish to
Yeah.
once you leave the company. Or if you want to move that account to some other company you're joining, you can easily do that.
Yeah.
So people who have this idea are not struggling, but I have seen a lot of people struggling with PF these days,
Hmm.
because eventually they don't have their correct documents, or during the joining they have given some, let's say your name was Neha, so you
Hmm.
must have given some short name or something,
Hmm.
and the HR must have filled those entries only.
Hmm.
But when you try to apply for your PF and these things, you face a issue, and then
Yeah.
you eventually blame that HR. But it's not that person's fault. It was you who gave the incorrect information.
Hmm.
So I think that is something which the person should not be concerned about. It's eventually your benefit that
Hmm.
you are getting a double amount for
Hmm.
that. In regards to ESIC, that's a very good facility provided by the Indian government
Hmm.
for the people who are having gross less than 21,000.
Hmm.
So if you go to any, if you face any medical, you want to have any medical thing done, you can get covered under ESIC,
Hmm.
and rest all will be taken care from the government's end. And the amount that gets deducted is very less. It's like 0.75% of your gross.
Hmm.
So if you, let's say if your salary is 20,000, your PF will be, sorry, ESIC will be mostly around 150, 145 rupees.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's a very small amount that you're paying, and if you avail that facility, you can, the amount can go up to thousands and lakhs
Yeah.
in terms of your recovery. So that's a very good facility in securing your thing from the medical end.
Hmm. Hmm. And what are the policy that they should ask for, like leave policy and all that, payment policy, relieving policy, and all that?
Yeah. So basically, whenever you join a company, you always get an appointment letter. See, there are two letters which you get during the joining.
Hmm.
First is the offer letter, which you get before joining,
Yeah.
which mentions your pay and the date of joining and these things,
Hmm.
what you
Hmm.
will be joining as, this and that.
Yeah.
But once you join the company, you get an appointment letter which has
Hmm.
all the policies written,
Hmm.
which includes your probation period. If you are on a probation, are you a permanent employee or not?
Hmm.
Are you on a contract basis? Or which includes all your leave policies.
Hmm.
So you should be aware what leaves you will be getting during the tenure.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a financial year thing, or maybe it's from Jan to December.
Hmm.
It can be varying in the companies, but it
Yeah.
is always there. You should be knowing when will your leaves will be good to avail,
Hmm.
and is there any criteria that what it can be encashed, or what leaves you can carry forward to the next financial year.
Hmm.
These are the things you should always go through in the appointment letter, because most of the people I've seen, when they get an appointment letter, it's a 3-page appointment letter, and they just sign it and give it back,
Yeah.
and they just keep it in their folder and go back home. But you should always read each and every single point, because that's the place, that's the letter where the company has written everything which will be
Hmm.
in regards to your employment there.
Yeah.
So you should always read each and every line. If it was not a useful thing, the company must have not wasted three
Yeah.
pages uh, for you to sign.
Yeah.
So that is what it is. In regards to the exit policy, yes, most of the companies have a 1 month notice
Hmm. Hmm.
or a 3 months notice some days now.
Hmm.
So you should always be aware.
Yeah.
Like some companies do have no notice when you are in a provision period.
Yeah.
So these all things are being written in your appointment letter. So whenever you get an appointment letter, you should always read this. If you are not getting an appointment letter, you should upfrontly ask from the
Yeah.
HR that
Hmm.
you should be helping me out with my appointment letter.
Hmm.
So this is what a person should do.
Hmm. And payment policy?
See, payment policy is nowhere written in the appointment letter, or you cannot have it on any website or anything.
Hmm.
But the payment policy you should always check with the HR only, that when the salaries will be crediting, because every company have a different
Yeah.
attendance cycles. The payments depends on the attendance cycle.
Hmm.
So some companies do pay on 30th of the last this
Hmm.
month, current month. Some companies pay maybe in the first or second, first 2 days of the next month, or
Yeah.
maybe some companies do have a cycle wherein they pay after 7th of that month, the
Yeah.
next month.
Hmm.
So it depends from company to company. However, you
Hmm.
should always ask this question from the HR, because he is the right person to help you out.
Hmm. Hmm. Now, that's why I say that it's very important, like you rightly say, that we should search for the company history, because until and unless it's a good company, you will not be getting all these rights, and you cannot, you cannot blame anybody later on. So it's very important that when you're seeking for a job, look for good companies, because they invest on people, they take care of all the rights, and these are
Exactly.
rights that are given by government, but companies do themselves also take initiative and do certain policies that are for the benefits of the employees, because they do understand that it's the employee who they want to sustain for the long term. So also, other than that, sometimes do companies do give facilities to their to
Exactly.
their
Hmm.
employees. It depends upon which company or what organization it is, but it's always upfront. We should always upfrontly ask, right, what are the facilities that we would be getting.
Yes, exactly. So, let's say in regards to facilities, it depends what the company structure is.
Yeah,
Let's say if you go to hospitality, the facilities they'll majorly provide you is the accommodation,
yeah,
their food facilities, these things they usually do. Maybe lockers, bunkers, which you'll not find in most of the corporate offices.
yeah,
But if you move to corporate offices, you will find a very fancy cafeteria,
yeah.
very
Cab facility.
fancy
Mm.
cab facilities. You can find gyms and those things because it's a whole complete different work environment.
Yeah,
Uh, so that is what the company focuses on, and every company tries to give their employee the benefits that they can be uh, uh, that can be useful for the employees.
yeah.
Like if let's say if a hospitality industry gives you a gym facility,
Mm.
I'm sure 60% of the people won't be using that gym because they already are been doing those shifts and these things, so they don't
Mm.
have that much of time.
Yeah,
But if you provide a gym facility in a corporate sector, people would be more happy to do
yeah.
it because they have that time slot
Mm.
wherein they get free by 6 o'clock, or maybe when they come in office by 9, so maybe they can use it free or post
Mm.
their work hours. However, if you give a bunker facility to a corporate employee, it will be
Yeah,
of no use because he
yeah.
cannot sleep in between the shift hours. But if you give a bunker facility to a hospitality person, or maybe a person who's doing a shift for in terms of break, so it helps out there. So
Yeah,
these are the things that company focuses on, and you should always be aware about what the facilities companies are providing.
yeah,
However, most of the company tries to provide facilities whatever they find useful for the
yeah.
employees, and um, thankfully these days in India too, there are very good companies and
Mm.
which are taking care of their employees a lot.
Yeah.
So, but you should always be aware about the facilities.
Yeah, because sometimes when you're not aware, sometimes the company is also trying to save money somewhere, right? That's the truth.
Exactly.
If you do not know all these policies, and if you do not ask upfront, they might not just include it when it's your right to receive it.
Exactly.
Like, for example, like I recently knew that people were getting relocation amount in my company, and me, I was so happy when I got my job offer. I didn't even ask for it. I could have
Hmm.
easily got the money, but I didn't ask for it. So companies do pay for relocation, like for example, if you are from Nagaland or from any part of Northeast and you are applying for any job, ask the HR, is there a relocation policy, because I have to shift from a state to a different state, I'll be occurring expenses, is there any policy that can help me, ask all that questions, because it's important, and sometimes you might just be losing money because you don't ask on those questions.
Yeah, exactly. So as I said, whenever you are applying for a company, you should always be very frank
Yeah,
and open, not be ashamed of anything because
yeah.
this is not something which you are doing wrong.
Mm,
You are going to a company to serve there, and you are going for your betterment too.
yeah.
So if you are working for the company, you should always be getting some
Mm,
returns for it.
mm, mm,
So
mm.
it goes to and fro, and you have to ask these questions
Yeah.
because uh, even if it is a no, it will be a no. But whatever it is a yes,
Mm.
so it's always favorable to ask these
Yeah.
type of questions.
Yeah, and that's why
At
I
least you will be
yeah.
at least you will be clear with your mindset that these things
Mm.
I'll be getting and these things
Yeah.
I'll not be getting.
And sometimes if you do not ask for it, you might not even get it. No.
Exactly.
Yeah. So like
Also, there is sorry, I'm just
yeah,
interrupting.
yeah, very sure.
There is one thing you should never go with assumptions to the company.
Yeah.
Like I said, you should always have a very clear picture, or if you are not asking those questions, don't go with assumptions that okay, this is a hospitality sector, so they must be having this and that.
Hmm.
It's not sure. Maybe the company is not doing so well, or maybe the company has some other benefits in regards to the employees.
Hmm.
So never go with assumption.
Yeah.
Either be clear or don't have a doubt. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah. And also, if you are an experienced person, there is always a salary, standard salary structure in the market, so always know about that, so that you make sure that you are not underpaid. And if you have more skills and all, you can always ask, negotiate on the salary, so don't be scared, because some people think that since the employment rate, unemployment rate is so high, some people get scared that, like, if I ask so many questions, maybe they will, um, choose somebody else. But no, if you have the right skill and they are looking forward to hiring you, there is no, you should not take advantage of it. But if you know that you are getting underpaid, you can always, negotiate on the salary part, right?
Yes. See, let's say if you have just joined the company,
That's different.
it won't be right to go and ask for your salary hike. But
Yeah.
yes, let's say if you are a experienced person, you should always be aware what hierarchy. Firstly, what hierarchy are you going into?
Yeah.
Let's say if you are working as a supervisor in some company and they have three level hierarchy,
Hmm.
and you are moving to a company who has a which has a six level hierarchy,
Yeah.
and you are moving there on the third position, so you'll not be on the same position where you are right now,
Yeah.
because here you are the second hand command,
Hmm.
and there you will be the fourth person to reach
Hmm.
out to.
Hmm.
So, and once you join that company, maybe they are paying you higher because of that their hierarchy level,
Hmm.
but the designation and the maybe the command that you'll getting over there will be less than what you have currently.
Yeah.
And there are a very huge crowd in this market who are not much into salary, but they are very much into their hierarchy levels.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you should be always clear about the hierarchy first.
Yeah.
Second thing, the components, as you said, are varying from industry to
Yeah.
industry. That can be varied, but in terms of your growth, there should be always a hike on it.
Hmm.
Let's say if you're not able to judge any gross CTC, uh, at least you can judge on what's the in hand would be.
Yeah.
Like if you're getting a 20,000 in hand right now and you are not much into calculation of
Hmm.
PF, ESIC and your gross in these PDCs, you can ask what will be, you can maybe
Yeah.
negotiate on in terms of your in hand salary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Eventually you'll get paid more than what you're getting. So that is something basic you should negotiate on. If you're good with gross and CTCs, you should always negotiate on that. But if you're not, at least try negotiating on your in hand salary.
Yeah.
But always keep in mind for the hierarchy levels.
Hmm. Yeah. Like, I really wanted to do this podcast on this topic is because, even me, I was so confused, and I am from BBA. But then when it's in the, because every industry has their own policy, and the policy keeps changing, right, with with new amendment that comes. So luckily I had people like Lalit who I could always run to, and like, Lalit, I'm confused what to do. But it's important that you know all this, and I also learned through after joining. But it's that's why I wanted people to know about all this, because I've seen that sometimes when we don't know all these rights, we are sometimes, um taken advantage of also. So it's important that we know all these basic things when looking for a job, because when we are going for a job, we are also giving a prime time of our life to that company. So it's
Exactly.
important that we um equally understand if our goals are meeting, if I see growth in that company. It's personal. So for some people, monetary might be the goal. For
Exactly.
some
Everybody
people,
has a
yeah.
different.
Hmm. For some people maybe learning, but for, I think, freshers, you should focus on learning. But when
Exactly.
it's a good company, you are taken care of also. Then when you grow, develop certain skills, you can always, when you're switching, you can always negotiate on those bases.
Exactly. Rightly
Mm-hmm.
said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there anything else that we missed out, Lalit?
Um, as of now, I don't think anything we have missed out on.
Yeah.
If you have anything else, we can do some other sessions as well.
Yeah. Yeah. If you can
Uh,
always type them down on the chat window, if you want
Certainly.
us to, our comment section, if you want us to do more. segments if you have any questions. Also, Lalit also keeps posting job opportunities in
A
hospitality
lot,
sector in his LinkedIn account. So I'll be posting the LinkedIn account somewhere here or there. So
certainly.
yeah, people can
You
reach
can
out to him.
search me on LinkedIn with Lalit Singh Jhala.
Yeah,
However, Neha will share the link of my
yeah,
LinkedIn.
yeah.
Uh,
And you can
and
reach
in
out to him.
uh, yeah, see, even I'll be very true. Even I don't have much of the industry knowledge because
Yeah,
even I'm just growing in with the
yeah,
company.
yeah,
But I'll help you out with whatever I have in
yeah,
with me.
yeah,
If there will be something which will be out of my box, I'll uh, make you reach out to somebody who will be
yeah.
able to help you with that.
Yeah, yeah. Even like last time we were saying this, like even if you have 10 years of experience in corporate, not everybody will know the whole corporate world because it's so much to
Exactly,
learn from.
exactly,
So many different industry. Each industry, the same department works differently. So yeah, it's
exactly.
important that we know all that. Thank you so much, Lalit.
Thank you, Nia. Thank you. Have a
Where are
great
you?
day.